Hi YouTube. The closet in my room has a simple shelf and clothes rod, which doesn't seem like an efficient use of space, so I decided to replace it with the Boaxel closet system from Ikea. What drew my attention to this closet system was the cost as well as the customizability of it. Luckily, Ikea had everything in stock, and the system cost me $160, which isn't bad at all. I also wanted the shelving system to be securely mounted, so instead of using wall anchors, I used furring strips to install the system. Yes, it's more work, but I think it's worth the effort. Let's get started. First, I had to remove the sliding doors to the closet. A lot of sliding doors come off by pulling the door up into the top track and then out the bottom. But I figured out that mine is completely hung off the sliders and required that I pull 2 tabs out per slider, or 4 per door. Next, I took everything out of the closet and then started removing the clothes rod and shelf. First, remove the screws for the closet rod brackets and screws for the middle shelf bracket. Next, take a knife and cut into the caulk between all wood and wall surfaces. In most cases, the wooden shelf and wood supports are nailed in with finish nails. Use a hammer and pry bar to separate all of the wood from the wall. The last part of this process is to take a knife or a scraper and remove any caulk that is still on the wall, and use a pry bar or the back of a hammer to remove nails that are still nailed into the wall. Even though the old closet system was nailed into wall studs, it's always good to double check the stud locations in case whoever installed the original system didn't install it correctly. Mark lines on the wall either indicating the center of a wall stud or the edges of each stud. I then cut the 8 furring strips down to the width of the wall. I would recommend cutting them a little bit shorter than the width of the wall to account for any discrepancies in the wall width, which will hopefully save you time from having to cut it again. Take one of the shelf supports, level it vertically, and mark holes on each end of the wall with the location of the screw hole of these supports. This will give you a visual indicator of where the furring strips will need to be secured into the wall. Screw on each side of the furring strip and use a level to make sure that it's level. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it'll definitely look better and easier for installing shelf supports. Try to make sure when screwing in the furring strips that the screws for the furring strips don't end up in the same place as the shelf supports. I think it's like this shelving system.
It's hot here too.
Yeah, I didn't eat. I also got mine. After the furring strips are in the correct position, go back and screw the furring strips into the other studs in between the ends of the wall. Although not necessary, I would recommend drilling a pilot hole before screwing the rest of the furring strips down. This will help with the furring strips not splitting. Paint the areas of the wall that need to be filled in with paint, and optionally paint the furring strips if you're not a fan of the natural wood look. Now on to the important part, making sure the shelf supports are vertically level and spaced properly. I tried centering the shelving system, so I mounted the first support a few inches from the left side of the closet wall. Drill a pilot hole for the middle hole of the shelf support and screw the support down. Next, take a level and vertically level the top, drill a pilot hole and secure the top, then do the same for the bottom. We'll come back and secure the remaining screws after all of the shelf supports are spaced properly. Ikea does sell brackets that the supports hang on, but the purpose of it is so that the supports have a level surface to hang off of, but isn't intended for structural support. I decided not to use them and return them, however feel free to use them if it's easier for you. Assuming that the first support bracket is level, attach a shelf bracket on the top and bottom of the first support, Then do the same for the second support that you're installing next. If you bought different width shelves like me, grab 2 of the correct size shelves that you plan on using and hang them on the shelf supports that you just installed. Level the second bracket by placing a level on the top or bottom shelf, and drill a pilot hole and screw the middle of the second support into place. Then repeat and make sure the top and bottom of the second support is vertically level. Rinse and repeat for the other support brackets, and fingers crossed the whole shelving system is level and doesn't end up crooked. Before fully assembling the rest of the shelf, if you haven't already, screw in the remaining parts of the support into the furring strips. Finally, install the rest of the brackets in the shelves, and if you purchase closed rods or any other accessories, install those as well. Despite all the work that was required to install this shelving system, I think it was worth it. And hopefully for anyone considering installing a Boaxel closet system, this shows how easy or hard it is to install and what it looks like in a closet like mine. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.